Hi everyone, my name is José Vieira and I work at the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Analytics in Fidelidade Group. The insurance sector is full of data science challenges such as classical supervised classification models for customer cross-sell and churn propensity, as well as deep learning and computer vision exercises such as intelligent document processing, car damage assessment in either pictures or video, or even topic and sentiment analysis in either text messages or phone calls. All of these projects are built by our internal teams at the center. If you'd like to know a little bit more about our projects, feel free and reach out. I wish all of you a wonderful World Data League. Best of luck.
Fidelidade, so that life doesn't stop.
All right. Welcome, everyone. So after almost a whole year, well, a bit less, it's finally nice to be here. And we are ready to kick off another edition of World Data League, already the third edition. Before we start, just that this year there's some extra new things, so pay extra attention if you have already participated in the previous years. But before we jump in all the logistics, let's just meet some very important people with whom we will keep in touch during this competition. And we have here with me, there's Tamara, there's Maggie, there's Alex. You can just all wave hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right, maybe let's start with Maggie. Maybe you can tell a bit about yourself, because I think you're the one, you and above Alex are the ones who will speak mostly to participants. Maybe tell a bit about yourself and what you do in World Data League.
Yeah, so my role in the World Data League, I'm the head of community. That means I'm going to be the person sending you emails, DMs on Discord, annoying you to fulfill deadlines and warning you about everything in the competition. And a little bit by myself. So my background is biomedical engineering. I fall in love with the World Data League once I knew their vision and mission, which you also will eventually learn during this session. And I do this on my free time, basically. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here and to get to know all of you, experts and participants. So yeah, I'm gonna pass the word now to Alex. That is my best friend in this competition, and yours too, eventually.
Thanks, Maggie. Yeah, so hi everyone, my name's Alexandra, whatever you choose. I'm going to annoy you together with Maggie. So we're going to bother you with all the important information. By day, I'm project manager for a marketing technology company. At night, I don't sleep because of my baby son, but I do it World Data League as well in my free time, and I expect a lot of networking from this year's edition. So Tamara, how about you?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Tamara, and my background is actually in medicine, and I kind of slided into data science as a career change and absolutely loving it. And the World Data League last year's edition was kind of my start in that. By day, I'm a developer advocate in the data engineering space, and yeah, by night, I do World Data League. And my role here is as a data scientist, so I help with preparing the challenges, making sure the jury has some idea what the data looks like, which always puts me in the slightly unique position that I've seen the data before you have. So I'm always super excited to see what innovative ideas and models you come up with, and also to see the collaboration between teams.
Yeah, indeed. And maybe I can also tell a bit about myself. Yeah, I'm Leonid. Some of you might already know me from some emails, but basically I'm head of competition. So I make sure that the competition runs smoothly, that the challenges run smoothly, that the rules are followed, and that everything goes as planned. So I think we can officially start to kick off this competition. And just before we start, want to let you know that you can ask any questions that you would like on YouTube as we present this, if anything is not clear, or if you need any clarification on anything that we ask. And at the end of this presentation, we will answer these questions as well as we can, or later on also on Discord. So World Data League, what is it? Well, we define it as a data competition that brings together the best minds in data science, machine learning, and AI to build long-lasting solutions for social impact challenges. Now, I know that this sounds very buzzwordy, but indeed we try to put meaning into every single part of this sentence. And this is why we choose to work with real world problems, with organizations that indeed can have impact, and that they can later on use the insights gained and in this competition to actually create positive change in society. And more concretely, and I think that most of you have seen this already on the website, is that the competition topic for this year is, again, as in the previous year, data-driven communities. And this is just because we're more and more living in cities. So it's estimated, I think it's 68% of the world population is going to live in urban areas by 2050. So there's a lot of challenges in cities, from pollution to how do you get from point A to point B, to sustainability, to so many things. So the idea is that we focus on communities and cities, and we want to think how to make conditions that these communities are safer, but also happier. And here we will tackle 3 different topics, each per each phase, that you will get to know right before we kick off each phase. And for the first phase, we'll get there in a bit. And to make this happen, we also have a very big team. Maggie.
Yeah, thanks, Leon. So from left to right, we have Fabiana, that is our head of communication and design. We have Miguel, that is our head of operations. Celso, our designer. So everything pretty you see in this presentation is done by him. Leon, that already doesn't need introductions, but our head of competition. Then we have Rui, head of finance. João is our web developer. Then me and Alex are the community managers. And of course, Samara, our data scientist. Yeah, so some statistics. So this year we have 29 teams. We have 70 countries represented, meaning we have 109 participants from 17 different nationalities. And a couple more. Yeah, so we have 70% of our participants have at least 1 year of experience in data science and machine learning, and almost 25% of our participants are seniors. So really cool to see here diversity of experience, and everyone can learn with each other, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and now,
yeah.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
now let's. Sorry. And now let's talk a bit about what will happen in the next 3 months. So this year, and this is the big change, is if you participate in the years before, you know that we had different stages, and then there was a leaderboard where you would accumulate points. This year, it will be a bit different. We'll have a first phase with all the teams, but then we will cut off by 15 teams for the semifinals. So it means that you'll need to be in the top 15 teams if you want to go to the semifinals. And then from the semifinals, only the best 5 teams will proceed. So this means that you really need to make the top of the leaderboard in order to continue in the competition. And how does it will work? Well, we will have a challenge from a topic entity. It's going to be a semi-open-ended challenge, and we will also have data provided. Then you will have 3 weeks to work on this challenge, and you will submit the solution with different deliverables. These solutions will be evaluated by a panel of jury. Always at least 3 jury will look at your submission, and at the end there is going to be some points calculated in the leaderboard. We try to balance out by how strict the jury are that evaluate each submission, so that it's also a more fair evaluation. Then what are the deliverables? Well, first it's the video pitch, which must be maximum 3 minutes. So you basically record a summary of what you did during your challenge. Then there's an executive summary, and this is where you summarize what you can do with your model. All right, so how will it be applied by the topic entity? And this is especially where the social impact score will be calculated. And then there's a Jupyter notebook where you basically deliver all your code and the model that you develop. And this is where mostly your technical skills will be evaluated. And as long as we're talking about evaluation, there are 4 sets of evaluation criteria that we will look at. So first one is product, which is worth 20%. Basically, this is how can you translate the technical aspects into a product that could be used by the topic entity. So we are not only evaluating your technical skills, but we're also evaluating if you can think about how the model is actually used in real life. And then second, we also ask you to do an impact assessment. So if you have that model, if you have that product, what do you think will be the impact of actually using those things together? And that's also worth another 20%. Then there's technical skills. So this is everything that you do in the Jupyter notebook and just evaluating your processes as a data science if you do a rigorous job. And finally, soft skills. We will look at more how you present the information. So this is your pitch video. This is how you write your notebook and how you organize it. And also your executive summary. So also keep in mind to keep those also well structured and organized, that this can give you some extra points boost that sometimes we already saw can make a difference. And now I will let Maggie to go a bit into details on how this competition will look like from the practical point of view.
Perfect. Thanks, Jan. So for our first phase, we already kicked off with the team badge activity. It ends tomorrow. So if you haven't posted your badge on Discord, do it, please. We have a lot of cool logos this year. Of course, now it's the kickoff. On the 5th of April, we'll have a Q&A with topic entities. We also will share and collect your questions on Discord during the next week. So be attent on that. Then the submission deadline is the 20th of April, and our jury members have 7 days to evaluate them, and then you'll find out if you pass or not for the semifinals. So for the semifinals, the structure is very similar. We'll kick off the semifinals on the 20th of April, so the day after. The submission deadline is the 19th of May. And again, the juries have 7 days, and the end of evaluation is on the 26th of May. And finally, for the finals, so the 1st of June, the top 5 teams are going to be on the finals. And on the 22nd, it's deadline for them to submit their final challenge. Yeah, so for mentoring. So right now, all of the teams have assigned a channel and their mentors. So you can talk to your mentor on that channel. It's private, only your team, WDL team, and the mentor is there. Be sure you schedule a mentoring video call, which means a checkpoint. So basically, it's just a quick, short meeting of 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you feel like you need. Your mentor is going to give you feedback and give us also feedback about your progress and make sure everything is going as smooth as possible. This one is mandatory. So for the first phase, it's mandatory, meaning that if you don't do it, you'll have a 50% penalty on your submission, and you definitely don't want that. So make sure you schedule it in advance. And then, of course, if for some reason your mentor is not able to answer you on time, or he or she doesn't have the skills to do it, you can always ask on the WDL Mentoring Discord channel. And we have a novelty this year. So basically, you can tag a specific skill. So for example, you want to know something about computer vision, you just tag computer vision on Discord on this channel, and all the mentors that are assigned to mentor computer vision will reply to you. Yeah, so that's new. And then for for Discord, so this is the meeting point for everyone. The emails are going to be sent, but usually later than Discord. So make sure at least one teammate of your team checks Discord every 2 days. And during mentors, I ask you the same. And of course, like basic rules, no threats of violence, collaboration is key here. And if anyone is breaking the rules, feel free to reach out. And yeah, actions will be taken if something happens. Okay, so the structure of Discord. So WDL Welcome is basically a public, anyone can enter channel. Then we have the help desk. So this is more like you can clarify your doubts about deadlines and competition formats, and mostly me and Alex are going to reply. Then we have the WDL announcements. Here we will announce all the links, kickoffs, live sessions, events, and only the WDL team can post there. Then we have challenge supports, where mostly probably Leon will reply. So basically, if you have a question about the data sets or scripts and something like that, Leon or the topic entity responsible for that challenge will reply to you. And then, of course, mentoring, I think is pretty much self-explanatory. Your private channel with your team and your mentor. And then finally, we have the general one where we just fun stuff. So if you want to share anything that it's not related to competition, you can do it, or activities. It's a free channel for anyone that wants to do networking, basically. Yeah.
Okay, so also another novelty this year is that we'll have a Q&A session with the topic entity. What does this mean? It's that now, before we had a bit questions ad hoc being asked to the topic entity, and we saw that there might be a need to have a bigger discussion that could happen on a video channel. But of course, you still didn't have time to look at the challenge before this competition started. So this is why we'll have Q&A sessions some days after this launch of each stage or each phase. And dates will be, of course, announced in advance. And we will also collect questions on Discords. So if you cannot attend, don't forget to post your question there, but you can also ask them live. And we really encourage you to join live, because then you can, of course, ask follow-up questions and have a longer discussion with the topic entity. And the recording will be made available afterwards in a private format. So this will be only for the use of the competition. And then, of course, by joining these sessions, you agree to be recorded. So that's also important to note. So in terms of submission platform, we also have a place where you can access in a bit, as soon as we launch the challenge, all the information about the challenge, the data access, and so on. And you will also find the leaderboard updates. The jury will also evaluate your submission through this submission platform, and you can also check all the deadlines. So basically, it's the place to find any information you need regarding the challenge or evaluation. And this is also where you will submit your challenge. And as we're talking about submission, when the stage will open, the topic will be available, and the challenge will be visible. And when the evaluation is complete, you'll also be able to see your score. And if you click on the stage, when you click on the stage, it takes you to the submission where you need to deliver the challenge, not challenge description, I'm sorry, there's a typo there, where you need to deliver a video, a notebook template, and an executive summary. So the video, it's in a video format MP4, notebook templates is IPNB, and then the executive summary is a markdown format. You have templates for all of those, and those will be linked in the challenge brief. So for the submission, in this case, we will have only one challenge. So this is also something new from the previous years. So you do not actually need to choose which challenge you're submitting. You will only be able to submit to one challenge. You need to upload the deliverables and then confirm that everything is submitted correctly. This is very important. So after you submit your challenge, you can click on each file and make sure that everything is correct. And don't forget about Murphy's Law. So if you submit last minute, it will happen that you won't be able to actually submit it. There's always a problem with the connection. There's always a problem with anything. So my suggestion would be to not submit the last minute and regard the deadline actually as 1 hour before the actual deadline. And then you'll have an extra hour to relax. And then we also encourage you, and we will ask you, and I think Maggie will communicate this also later on with all of you guys, but you will also be encouraged to do a dummy submission in a week from now, just to test out that you know the process, how it goes, and that everything works well. But more news will come on that on Discord in a week from now. And then we can finally talk also about the prizes. So if you finish first on the finals, you will have the right to a prize of 5,000 euros. If you finish second, 2,500, and if you finish third, it's 1,000 euros. But this is not the only prizes that we will have. So for both the first phase and the semi-finals, we will also have something called the Excellency Prize Pool. And this is also a bit from the feedback from the previous years that sometimes two teams were coming very close to each other, but then just because of 1 point difference, both did a very good job and both indeed had impact with their solution, or could possibly have impact the solution. But just because of that, sometimes they would miss a really nice prize. So this year we focus more on the quality of the submissions, rather looking at the first, second, or third position in the first phase and in the semifinals. So basically we will distribute, if you have more than 225 points, you will be eligible to win a prize, and the prize will be distributed proportionally to how many points you have. So meaning if you manage to score the full 300 points, you will get a much higher prize than the team that has 225 points. This formula is described in the rulebook. So if you want to know more, I would suggest that you go there and read in details. Further, we also have a social impact award. So because we have the social impact criteria, we will look at all the submissions and see so all the submissions for the first phase and semifinals, and we will look at which one had the highest social impact score, and that one will receive also a prize of 500 euros. So it's not even if you think that you won't get first in the finals, there's also plenty of other opportunities to win prizes. So I think the main thing and the main lesson is don't give up, I guess. And then just a couple of tips and tricks that we saw. It's that first, the key is teamwork. You have 3 weeks to complete the challenge. It's impossible to do everything just by one person or two people. You really need to delegate very well, and you really need to meet often and discuss very often what you're working on, in which direction you're going. Then each person can focus either on the product, or thinking about how to do the impact, or writing the executive summary, or thinking how to model things. So there's plenty to do around. Then second, really think about the story that you're trying to do, because when you're presenting a model, That's one thing, but all deliverables should somehow have a logical flow, and the jury should be able to follow this flow and understand your solution to the fullest and why it would actually work. Also, never assume that the person who will read your reports and code has full context. So for each block, make sure to give proper context of why you're doing a certain things. Then another thing, about the charts and graphs. So we saw before that there's a lot of teams that put tons of charts thinking this is what they will get them points, but no, the number of charts is not the same as is not equal to the number of points that you will get. So indeed, include a couple in the main part of your code, but if they repeat, put the rest in an annex and then just mention that they are there and that they're similar, but you don't need to put a lot of things. Also, you do not need to be a Viscis and make awesome visualization in your reports, but do not forget the basics, labels and captions. Make sure that reading the visualization is very easy. This is something also we've seen across many submissions, that a lot of teams lost a lot of points just because the things were not visualized properly and the visualization were hard to understand, or sometimes not even understandable because there was not enough context and not very well made labels. Also, you might have also tried a lot of things that did not work and you really want to show all this work. But again, don't forget about the tip I gave before, which is think about the storyline. So list in your Jupyter notebook, in the main section, the things that did not work, but move the code to the appendix. So really focus on what worked and on your storyline, and then you can still prove things that does not work somewhere in the annex, as long as you refer to it in the notebook. So yeah, then we also saw many good solutions in the previous years, technically executed flawlessly, but many of them were not communicated clearly. So take your time to write the executive summary. This is not just a simple summary, which is not going to be used for anything. It is going to be evaluated, and there's almost 40% or 50% of evaluation criteria that is focusing on the content of this executive summary. Then also at the end, don't forget to clean your notebook. So the jury will read through the whole notebook with everything executed. And then if you have a lot of unnecessary prints, this will make the readability harder. And then of course, it might be harder for the jury to evaluate, and he or she might miss something. And then of course you will be penalized because just the notebook is a bit more confusing. Also, make sure that your Jupyter notebook is runnable, because it does not break. And finally, also don't forget to take breaks to clear your head. We know that you're 100% devoted to winning, but sometimes it's good to gain some perspective, and this might help your end solution at the end. And finally, don't forget to know who is your audience and who are the jury, because they are quite technical, but they might not, again, have all the context. So we would recommend to also look at who are the profiles of the jury on our websites. And I think those are all the tips and tricks. So those were all the lessons that we learned already from the previous 2 editions, and hope that you take those into account in order to also deliver better results. One more thing is that to access this submission platform, you use the same email that you use to register for World Data League. And what you do is you just put in your email. You will receive a token in your inbox. Sometimes it might fall into the spam folder. So before asking, just check in the spam folder if it's there. And if it's not there, we'll be, of course, more than happy to help you on Discord. Finally, and also we could not do this all by ourselves. We could not have the money for the prizes. We could not have the support from the mentors, the jury. So we do have quite some corporate partners. It's BPI, their data, Fidelidade, Galp, Euroclear, GTA, and Siemens. You will be able to hear from some of them. Some of them will be jury members. Some of them will be your mentors. So I think I would take the chance also to get to know them and what they do in their companies. Sometimes it might be very interesting. Besides the corporate partners, of course, as I said previously, we do have challenges and data from real world entities. And in this case, we're actually working with 3 cities. So that's the city of Lisbon for the first phase, city of Cascais for the semifinals, and the city of Ghent for the finals. We also could not have done this competition without your cities. They give us input and a lot of interesting insights into cities and connect us to cities. We also have some communities that help us spread the word about World Data League. And finally, we will also have some cool perks by JetBrains and Tech, but I think we will get into that a bit later into the competition. So with this, I would like to ask if there are any questions, and I'm looking maybe at Maggie to help me out a bit.
Yeah, I'm checking now on the live session on YouTube, and for now, still no questions.
If then there are no questions, I think we will, let me just take a look. Yeah, nothing. In that case, we will continue. Just to maybe add, I remember in the beginning there was one question about if this will be available later on, and if the stream will be available and recorded. Yes, it will be available, not right away because it needs some time for processing, but then I think within 24 hours, I believe it will be available. So that's also okay. So I think that with this, we'll go into a short break so we can kick off in the with the World Data League show. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Hi, everyone. My name is José Vieira, and I work at the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Analytics in Fidelidade Group. The insurance sector is full of data science challenges, such as classical supervised classification models for customer cross-sell and churn propensity, as well as deep learning and computer vision exercises, such as intelligent document processing, car damage assessment in either pictures or video, or even topic and sentiment analysis in either text messages or phone calls. All of these projects are built by our internal teams at the center. If you'd like to know a little bit more about our projects, feel free and reach out. I wish all of you a wonderful World Data League. Best of luck.
Fidelidade, so that life doesn't stop.
All right, welcome back. So before we kick off with the competition, we also want to introduce another thing that we usually do on these live sessions. It's called the WDL Show. So basically, this is just a small show about the people who make World Data League possible, who can give you some insights into the competition and maybe sometimes give you that little tip that will make the difference between winning or losing. And today we have 3 special guests that we'll introduce in a bit. These are really short interviews, so just stick around and maybe you will also learn a couple of things which will help you throughout this competition. And I will give the word to Maggie to start with her first guest.
Thank you so much, Liam. Okay, so our first guest is a very special person. So he was the captain of the team that won last year, Yodas. A fun fact about João is that he's a mentor this year also. So he liked World League so much that he wanted to join us again in a different role. Right, João?
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly that. Yeah. Now in a different perspective, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I think a fun fact is that I didn't know João was joining this competition until he was accepted, and we were in university together. So it's a very small world. We both come from biomedical backgrounds. But I know João has an experience with doing hackathons. So I wanted to know, like, why WDL and why do you think it was different from the other experience you had?
Yeah, I remember that the team was more or less the same actually from this one and the other hackathons, and I think we just wanted to step up our game. Basically, we actually said this exact expression together. We did some previous hackathons, and we really wanted to go to a more international thing. More complex, more time. So it was really to have a bigger challenge and to challenge ourselves with a bigger thing and a bigger environment. So yeah, it was the main idea, and I think WDL is the best one that I know on that matter.
Amazing, and that wasn't trained or coached, by the way, for people listening.
Yeah.
Thank you, João, for the compliments. So Yodas were pretty much always on the top during stage 1, stage 2, semifinals, and finals. But I'm sure you had some obstacles in the way. So what did you learn halfway during the competition that you wish you knew at the beginning?
I mean, apart from the obvious technical expertise and things that we learned a lot, of course, I don't know the particularities about the challenges this year, but we learned a lot for sure technically about in each one of the challenges and each one of the phases. That obviously it would be much better to know that beforehand, but as part of the learning curve. But I think we also learned a lot about knowing how to when to give up and how to give up, and not give up on the challenge, but give up on a solution. That's a thing that I personally and even the team, I think, learned a lot is that even if we think a solution is the best one, maybe it's not the best fit for that specific situation, and we learned that. I think that was the best thing that I learned and the team learned during the competition. And it would be very nice to have that knowledge in the beginning for sure.
Okay, amazing. So basically prioritizing the tasks and understanding the context of each challenge. I think it's
and don't be mad to drop a solution and go to the second option if it fits best. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so do you think that the World Data League community helped you in any way during the league and after the league, actually?
Yeah, I think we got very lucky. I don't know if it will be the live event this year, but we got very lucky with the actual format of the competition last year. It was very, very fun, and we had a lot of support from the team. After the competition, actually, yeah, we continue to talk, and we are still talking nowadays. So I guess if anyone wants to continue, it's just a matter of trying and showing that want to continue doing stuff on this area, on this field. So yeah, I guess it's very good. It's something we talked together last year, and yeah, I think you should continue doing that.
Great. So for all the teams that are listening, know that you have an opportunity to continue the challenges even after the league ends. It doesn't have to end on the finals. So I think it's a great thing for anyone that loves this type of projects.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So João, I want to thank you for coming here. It was great to listen from you, and two very lucky teams have you as a mentor this edition. So
let's see.
So yeah, we'll be hearing from you, of course, on Discord during this first phase. So if anyone wants to ask tips for João, tag him on Discord, and I'm sure he will be happy to answer your questions.
For sure.
Yeah, amazing. Okay.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. So now we have also two other special guests. They're both coming from two partner companies of World Data League. That's Lara Oliveira from Siemens and Ricardo and José Vieira Nuno from Fidelidade. And both, as I said before, partners of World Data League. So maybe if you can, guys, wave a bit high to everyone. So maybe we'll start. I mean, any of you can, of course, kick off, but maybe first, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do, just briefly at your company, so that everyone can get to know you as well a bit?
Okay, yeah, if you want, I can kick off.
Yeah.
So my name is José Vieira. I'm a data science manager here at the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Analytics at Fidelidade. We are a group of 30 technical people, 16 of them are data scientists. Pricing, fraud, and risk is machine learning challenges that we don't cover. Everything else we do. So topics such as develop classical classification models, such as cross-sell, upsell, churn, propensity models are within our scope. Segmentation, either for customers, commercial agents as well. But we also do a little bit of a more technical deep projects with deep learning and computer vision exercises, such as intelligent document processing, sentiment topic analysis on top of either text messages or phone calls. And we do sometimes develop a couple of speech bots as well. So I think we covered a little bit of more or less the type of usual machine learning projects.
Yeah, and maybe Lara, hi.
Yeah, hi there. So basically, I can introduce myself first. My name is Lara, and I work at Siemens. I work in the data analytics lab, and basically we cover most of the topics that José Nuno also talked about. And besides that, we started currently working with ChatGPT. So we actually already implemented that. So it's also a really cool topic. So my department is taking care of that. So we also cover a lot of machine learning projects, and a lot of them, that's why we are connected with World Data League. They are also related with sustainability topics and also digitalization and technologies that are related with having a greater and a bigger and a better impact in the society. So in that sense, in a nutshell, that's what I am doing at the moment, making part of these projects that attempt or try to make the world a better place. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe can you tell us a bit what? Well, I think you already told us a bit why Siemens partnered up with World Data League, but maybe also I wonder if you have any expectation, or what would you love to see as an outcome of this competition?
Yeah, of course, as the objectives of course, all the companies have objectives whenever they do a partnership. So the biggest goal that we want to remain in here is try to search for new talents and try to get here some great data scientists that could make part of our team and help us developing these goals. Basically, I would say that. Yeah. And also it makes total sense for our our company nowadays to, I know that most of people think about Siemens as the company that sells washing machines and so on, but we are trying to get rid of this image and try to be more connected with technology, sustainability nowadays, even more important. And yeah, that's basically the main two goals that I would say that Siemens has with this partnership. And we can see that we have really sustainable buildings. They just turn off the lights when they don't see no movement. So that's why Siemens is super sustainable.
Okay. And Jose, maybe also can you tell us a bit why Fidelidad decided to partner with World Data League, and what would be for you an interesting outcome of this competition?
So I think that World Data League chose a great purpose. So having the opportunity to work on social impact challenges, I think it's an opportunity for both companies such as ours and Siemens, and also the data scientists that will be participating, to give back to the society. I think that's it's a very welcoming purpose, and I would say that's the main focus why Fidelidad is betting on World Data League. Of course, we do believe that the management part that composes World Data League is very proficient. We have seen the past results. So in the nutshell, it's an opportunity. Okay, giving back to the society is one of the best things we can do. The other thing I think it's that by working alongside with you guys, we are able to create a more robust data science community here. I mean, although this is a very international wide league, I do believe that the fact that it's starting from Portugal and to the world is also an opportunity for us to be there and have a chance to learn with everyone and meet fellow data scientists and increase the robustness of our community.
Oh, that's very cool. I do agree with you. Maybe just before I have one other question, because I said that in this World Data League show, we'll try to get some tips for the participants as well. And everyone knows that making data models is great. We love that doing that as data scientists, but many times we forget on how to translate these to and from business needs, or in this case, we're not, in the case of World Data League, it's not business, but more the city needs. And then in this competition, the evaluation does not only focus on the technical aspect, but also the business, or in this case, the social impact aspect. From your experience, especially working in the industry, is there any tips or any insights that you can give the participants in that domain?
Sure.
Maybe Jose, you can start.
Although they will be maybe considered as a first glance something very simple, I actually do believe that what I'm about to say is very difficult to achieve, which is having the opportunity to have a client always on the loop and involved in the discussion from the beginning till the end. Having a dedicated customer it's difficult, so it's up also to the team to make sure that he's fully engaged from the beginning. And how I do believe that engagement can occur is making sure that every time we discuss technical concepts, we are very keen and worried that they are very well understood by the customer. So I think they're more or less like baby steps. You have to bear with the customer and teach them and try to make sure that they understand completely what you're trying to say. I'm not from the statistical world. I'm a computer scientist engineer, and I do feel their pain when trying to understand the probability side. And therefore, I do believe that it's very important to make sure they fully understand what you're about to say. And when doing that, making sure that when you are discussing metrics from the model in order to evaluate performance, you can actually translate them to business outcomes, because otherwise they won't understand what you're mentioning as good model or bad model. So making this translation, I think, I won't say that it's half the work, but it's a big part of the work to have a successful machine learning project delivered to the customer.
Thank you, Jose. Lara, any tips in that domain as well?
I would say that even more important than the customer understanding us, I would say it is us to understand the data scientists, to understand the data itself, and the customers themselves, because it's super important here to have the context of the problem, understanding why we are doing what we are doing, and what is the main goal this is not always that they don't come up with the best goal at the beginning, so they start developing it in the meanwhile. But I think besides making the customer understanding us understanding the data is even more important, and derived from that you can get the best results for sure. If you get the data perfectly, you are also going to have the best results.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think that indeed I do agree with both of you. We need to make sure we communicate it in the right way to the business, but then also we need to make sure that we understand very well the problem. And I think those are very good insights for you participants to kick off. Lara, Jose, thank you very much for coming into the WDL show. We hope to see you more often. And besides this, I think now we'll go on a short break, short break, and then we will be ready to announce the challenge for the first phase of World Data League. So stay tuned. See you in a bit.
Hi, everyone. My name is José Vieira, and I work at the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Analytics in Fidelidade Group. The insurance sector is full of data science challenges, such as classical supervised classification models for customer cross-sell and churn propensity, as well as deep learning and computer vision exercises, such as intelligent document processing, car damage assessment in either pictures or video, or even topic and sentiment analysis in either text messages or phone calls. All of these projects are built by our internal teams at the center. If you'd like to know a little bit more about our projects, feel free and reach out. I wish all of you a wonderful World Data League. Best of luck.
Fidelidade, so that life doesn't stop.
And hi, we're back after this very short break for the moment that you've been waiting for. And I'm assuming you're all super eager to learn what this challenge will be about. I kept an eye on the poll that was going on in the chat, and I noticed it was contested between environment and mobility. And some of you were right. The first phase is all about mobility, which of course also has always an effect on environment. So I think the great, and also on society too. So I think most of you were right in some way. All right. Big topic, mobility. You also learned that the topic entity, so the people who provided the data for this challenge, are from Lisbon. And let's put these two together and reveal the first challenge topic. So the first challenge is called Determining the Main Mobility Flows in the City of Lisbon based on mobile device data. The city of Lisbon, like many other cities, has over the past few decades seen a tendency of inhabitants to move from the core of the city out to the suburbs and the metropolitan area, which is nice. You can have a garden, but it creates new challenges. And one is definitely commuting, and it has led to more people using cars, and at the same time, use of public transit has decreased. So the city of Lisbon came together and they tried to think of ways that they can make the commuting experience better, because absolutely no one likes being stuck in a traffic jam. But of course, also make mobility more sustainable in Lisbon, especially looking forward about climate change and generally protecting the environment. You will have much more information on this challenge on the challenge brief, so I'm not going to read through all of this. Maybe one note about the main data set, because it's very amazing. It's definitely big data this time. It's mobile phone movements in a 200 by 200 grid every 15 minutes. All right, and I will talk with Walter Ferreira from the city of Lisbon in a minute, but first I want to reveal the first activity.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Okay, so just a quick reminder, the team badge activity finishes tomorrow. Basically, your team has to choose a logo, anything that represents a family, anything you feel inspiration. I'm seeing some things on Discord, some people doing data warriors, others using any type of things. So be creative and share until tomorrow. And just a quick reminder that to all the participants here, make sure you already have a personal team channel, and mentors and jury goes show some love on the WDL General channel and cheer for your teams. And yeah, I'll get back to Tamara to see the rest of the information for first stage.
Thanks so much, Maggie. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing all of your team badges. And let's go to the fireside chat. So, Valter, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Still seated in the airport lobby, but here, trying not to get that much background noise. So if you guys hear some background noise, just make me a sign so I can mute the phone. All right.
Yeah, it's amazing. You definitely took the topic to heart and are joining us from the airport over here. And it shows how important these challenges are for the topic entities, that they take time out of their day to join just before the plane leaves. And my first question to you is just, do you want to quickly introduce yourself, what you do, and what your role is working with data in the city of Lisbon?
Yes, just let me get my phone because it's just hold on. Okay, well, I'm Valter. I have a background in marketing and economic. My specialization is regional competitiveness and effectiveness of of technology in public action. I'm an enthusiast of smart cities and the booster of the concept of wise cities in the world. Within the Lisbon City Council, I've worked as a data analyst now to the Center for Management and Urban Intelligence City. But back in 2011, I was one of the first person to introduce the concept of open data in the municipality. Then this project went hand by hand with other departments, and it landed in the perfect person that is my boss nowadays, João, to give the boost that this project needs and to take it forward and to create this amazing team that we have now in the Lisbon LX Data Lab, that they are all here, as you can see, Pedro, André, Paula, Inês, and Nuno. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. The team is just amazing. So they do everything so we can have this data available for all the data analysts in the world. But this Elfis Data Lab is more than just this amazing team. It's a partnership between the municipality and 14 universities in Europe. To aim to promote the cooperation with the academia, because we don't academia enough, because we need that innovative ecosystem that they can provide. So we have the data and they have the specialized resources, and together we can make magic. And now in World Data League will be bring it to another level, I believe.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the participants can't see that on the YouTube live stream, but it's really a whole team here in the green room here, supporting Walter and being ready. And it's definitely an example of how data science is always a team effort. Okay, thank you. And one thing that I wanted to ask you, a lot of the participants probably have not been to Lisbon before. I haven't. And do you want to give us or paint us a picture with words what the current state of mobility in Lisbon is like? And especially the participants will find something about 11 access roads in the data. Maybe talk about what these mean to Lisbon.
All right. So first of all, the state of art of mobility. You give there a quite good input when you started, Tamara, because yeah, Lisbon is losing inhabitants. We since the early 80s to today, we passed from 800,000 inhabitants to 500,000 inhabitants. We lose inhabitants to all the outskirts, to what we call the Lisbon metropolitan area, and and the use of individual car becomes bigger and bigger with the time, and as well as the availability of parking space becomes overload with this. And me myself, I'm an example of that because I choose to live near the beach. So as I live near the beach, I have to commute all the time to live. So I have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning instead of 9. I arrive early to work to skip traffic, and everybody does this kind of movements to skip traffic. And we have to make that happen. Another big important number is that in 2017, there were 46% of the journeys started and then in the city, and only 22% of those were done by public transport. But nevertheless, and it's a very important data also, pedestrian and bike are increasing in a very interesting rate in nowadays. Mostly because the sharing bike network is growing. There is a lot of new shared bikes, even the slow mobiles, like the scooters, so on. They are increasing with time. Now, with some regulation on that, probably the flows will get better. And you were asking me about the 11 routes. Yeah, those 11 routes are the main connections of the outskirts to the city, the connections with the metropolitan area. And we divide those 11 because they are the principal, and we divide them by 2 big hours because we consider the rush hour in Lisbon, but in the morning from 7 to 10 in the afternoon from 5 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I was comprehensive enough.
Yeah, it definitely was. It gives you an idea of what it looks like in Lisbon, like a lot of people having to use cars, but also a lot of people maybe choosing to. And as you said, there are already tendencies and projects that should make mobility more sustainable within Lisbon. But I think a key thing, and this probably ties into this challenge, in order to improve the state of mobility, you have to understand how people actually move. And that was my next follow-up question. You told me the current state. If you had a magic wand and you could turn it into the ideal state, or your team could turn it into the ideal state, what would that look like? And how can this challenge help you reach that ideal state?
Well, we hope and our ideal state would be for the public transport, or let's say the collective transport and the shared car and stuff like that, would be predominant. And by assuming this, that collective transport are low emissions, of course, because having old buses that pollute a lot, it's not a solution. Or even if you share a car, but you are talking about cars, well, higher level of pollution, that's not a solution. And also, we have to do this way to promote a soft mobility of commuting. For instance, you could arrive by train to the city, and then you can take a bike or a scooter or something that will take you to the workplace. So, because it will be impossible to have a bus stop in all working places or a train taking you to your workplace. But if you have low mobility that complements the heavy infrastructure, let's go that way. Let's call this like a last mile, but in delivering people, not in delivering goods. Could be the last mile and the delivery of people. Sorry, I will have to move for a little because there are the car passengers. Sorry, someone.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that was the proof that he's actually at the airport talking to us. And while the announcement is going, I can quickly maybe summarize what you just said. Yeah, I think I love the way you put it, with it being a last mile problem in a lot of cases, but not for goods, but for people. So that's maybe one thing you can think about while solving this challenge is, yeah, there might be the necessity for individual transportation within the city, but how can we figure out how to offer more sustainable ways and make it accessible to the wide public so that people will actually want to use it? And also your point that, of course, we want modes of transportation that are sustainable, like, for example, bikes or e-scooters and things like that. Quickly checking in if the announcement has passed. Yes. That has turned into a game of taboo for me. I think that meant maybe 4 minutes or maybe a little bit.
I think they are over now. They were calling low mobility people now, but they have to do it in Portuguese and in English. So it took more time. So just to finish up and wrap up the ideal state. So I'm being like now a bit utopic, but the time not the utopia yet. But first we need to reduce the time and the greenhouse emissions, the time that will take to commute, and greenhouse gas emission. That's fundamental. And now a bit of utopia, but the truth. We want to improve the quality and make the city a better place to live. I know that's a word that everybody says, but we need, that's the goal, that's the main goal. Without that, there is no purpose in launching these challenges.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I think the purpose of all our actions on one level should be, we want to make the world a better place and cities a better place to live, especially as more and more people will live in cities, as we are more and more people. And yeah, definitely agree with that. Now, if you think about this challenge that is proposed, that focuses on figuring out how people move, of course, there's more than one data set. I pointed out the main one. There's also data about traffic conditions, things like that. How do you think this specific challenge can aid you in improving the mobility in Lisbon?
So basically, how can I get closer to this idea? Well, let's take it this way. The data, the inputs that we will have from this challenge will allow us to plan and to carry out the necessary action to improve the mobility in the city and the quality of life. We are meeting the sustainable objectives that we compile to the job regions. And I believe also that we can create a model that will predict flows individual between, and like you said in the beginning, the squares, because we are measuring grids that are 200 understanding the movements during the rush hour, where the people move more during the rush hour. They come to the same people that inhabitants will go. How is this flow moving? Where are the people during the rush hour? How can we take people to another route? How can we move people around the city in the rush hour? How can we integrate this information with other information systems to put people around?
Muito obrigada por terem aguardado.
Most importantly, I think we will also need to compare the actual pattern of flow with the forecast flow. So, with this comparison, we can improve the experience.
Para verificação, em nome da Frata Air Açores, desejamos voo agradável.
Okay.
Passengers on
We're gonna wait a second for the announcement to be over, I think.
Yeah, I will mute so you don't have.
Okay. Yeah. Again, proving he's actually at the airport, but we're super grateful and that he's so dedicated to join us on mobile. And there's one point I want to come back to that you just said, like what the role of the forecasting part, because we have a lot of data scientists, we have senior data scientists, and what exactly you're looking for in the forecasting part, because I think this is a big part of what we said with think about your data product, think about how to present things. You need to know who you're talking to and what the people that you're developing your models for are actually going to use it for. So if the announcement has stopped, maybe if you could come back to the main point, because I think a part of that was not that easy to understand because of the announcement.
All right. What I was saying is we need to understand the flow of the people and by comparing and then
Passageiros do voo SATA Air Açores 406 com destino à terceira, por favor, dirija-se à porta 6. A porta
I think we can wait a
quase
second.
fechar.
I don't want to cause Walter to miss his flight. That's why I'm a little on point and always asking to come in between. Yeah, I'll let you unmute then. But yeah, those are the two main questions I think that are still left that are really important for the participants. I think you already gave a ton of great information, especially about what you're looking for, how you could improve the city, like the mobility in the city of Lisbon, talking as someone who lives in Lisbon and has firsthand experience. And if you can be back, maybe if you try once more talking about the main things you look in the model.
Forecast.
Yeah.
Well, because the main thing is that we want to
Chamada para os passageiros do voo SATA Air Açores 4.
All right. I think in the meantime, the other thing that I think people should focus on when they are developing a model or developing a data product is think about who they are talking to. And that was the next question that I had on my list for Walter. Who will use the output of this challenge? Will it be people with a data background, or will it be people maybe with a marketing background, or maybe even the general public? Like, who should be able to understand the data product that you're creating? Looking at his video.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back. I was trying to understand the noise that is around me. Okay, because there's a plane that for some people are missing the plane. That's the problem. So going back to the flow, another announcement.
Chamada para os passageiros do voo SATA Air Açores 406 com destino à terceira, por favor, dirija-se à porta 6. A porta está quase fechar.
Yeah, the question was like,
for the passengers on SATA Air
final users or data challengers?
I think who is will be the people who are using the output of the challenge. That's
so it will be mainly the municipal services, our services, people that are working today with traffic management and planning, because there are a lot of things to do still in the city, and we need this out for planning the city, planning better neighborhoods, integrated communities. We need this data to bring comfort to the people that are living in the city. So you know that you can leave your house and you are not going to be stuck in a traffic incident. That you can leave your house and there is not a car blocking your garage door, or that the scooters are not abandoned in the street, or that is not a scooter that is making the traffic. We need to understand the flow. We need to understand where people live and routing them around the city, taking them out of the inhabitants area. This is very important.
Yeah, I think that's super valuable information for our participants. Thinking about you're talking to someone who probably has a lot of knowledge of the area, a lot of knowledge of the city, maybe city planner, or maybe someone who lives there if you choose to focus more on a public product, but especially the city planner who has to figure out how can they in this moment or for this day that is predicted change mobility in the city, maybe make something more available or something not less. and this person will know the city very well, but maybe not have a data science background. So that's something to keep in mind when you're designing the end product. Okay, I don't know if if it works currently.
I'm still here. I was just waiting another announcement to pass. I just want to highlight here, speaking in what you said in the beginning, that this was really big day. And I will leave that input saying that, you know how many lines people will have to work with of the data? 2.2 million lines data per day. Without any personal information, because we only get the data if there are more than 10 devices active in the grid. There is less than 10 cell phones, there is no data. If there are more than 10 devices, we have the data. So, but it will be 1.2 millions of lines. So guys, get ready.
Yeah, fun fact.
Get ready to rumble.
No, it's actually amazing. I think it's definitely a record for amount of data that we've had in a challenge at the World Data League. And fun fact, when I first saw the data and I just clicked open, not thinking about it, my Excel, or I think it was the Mac version of Excel, popped up. You can't read in that many lines with this program, which hasn't happened with a CSV that I've got before. So yeah, you will definitely have enough data, and that's one of the things to keep in mind. If you have a lot of data, you have to prioritize and think about what you're using, especially to make the model usable in the end. Yeah. Now, I don't want to keep you for too long. I know we have 12 minutes until the challenge will officially start and be on the on the platform and everything. Is there something else you would like to add? Something that you think is important for the participants to know?
Well, what they need to know is data is sensitive and gives a lot of information. It's very informative. We are using this data nowadays in a lot of different fields. We are controlling the events using this data. We are controlling football games using this data. Now for the World Youth Journey portion, they will be used. We will have more than 2 million persons coming in from different parts of the world and from the country. And we are using this data to monitor where people are going, which are going, what are their movements. So this data has no limits. Use your imagination, because you can really do magic with this. Or prepare as a theater act, and I would say break a leg.
Thanks so much.
In this case, I would say just surprises. And it's very important that you keep in mind that nothing is impossible. It's only impossible if you think it is. So try the best you can.
Thanks so much. I think that would have been a perfect finishing word, but I still have to say a few words. I think I'm letting you
sorry.
No. I will pretend these were the finishing words, and these were the words that kicked off the first challenge. I will let you run because I understand you have a plane to catch. And if it hasn't been delayed in one of the messages that we heard.
No, they didn't talk about my flight yet, so probably it's delayed for
it. Fingers crossed, and I hope you have a good flight. We had one question in the chat that someone said who has had the same experience before, having to hold a meeting from the airport, so definitely feels for you, and is asking for a transcript. We can see if that's possible. We'll have to figure out the technical details around that, but in case there are any questions left now, please submit them on Discord in the questions in the channel that is for challenge questions. You can tag me and also tag Leon, and I will collect all of these questions, and we will have a Q&A on April 5th. And there I will ask all the questions that I've received in the meantime. And you can also join that Q&A live and be on a little Zoom call with us. And then you can also ask your questions directly live. So you can have follow-up questions, and it's a little more interactive. And that session will be recorded and will be distributed out to you for everyone.
And luckily, I will not be in the airport.
Yeah, perfect. And then we will have Walter with a lot better audio quality, and you can ask everything that you maybe didn't understand in this session. Okay, thank you so much, Walter.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great session. there is more session to go. I don't know, but if there is more, nice, good afternoon of work to everybody.
Okay, bye. Good flight.
Okay.
All right, and that's it from our side. You can see the little timer is at 9 minutes, so you're probably getting ready to get the full challenge brief. My last few words, I can't put it as eloquently as Walter just did, but yeah, use your imagination. Everything's possible. Take a second to breathe once in a while. Take a walk around the block once in a while. Just checking if there's another question here. Yeah, just another person saying a transcript would be nice. We will see if that's possible. Yeah, and enjoy your time. Talk to the other members, talk to everyone, network. That's also a big part of the World Data League. And I'm super curious to see what you're coming up with. I'm sure there will be a ton of innovative solutions. And with that, I hope you have a great time the next few weeks. Bye.
Hi, everyone. My name is José Vieira, and I work at the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Analytics in Fidelidade Group. The insurance sector is full of data science challenges, such as classical supervised classification models for customer cross-sell and churn propensity, as well as deep learning and computer vision exercises, such as intelligent document processing, car damage assessment in either pictures or video, or even topic and sentiment analysis in either text messages or phone calls. All of these projects are built by our internal teams at the center. If you'd like to know a little bit more about our projects, feel free and reach out. I wish all of you a wonderful World Data League. Best of luck.
Fidelidade, so that life doesn't stop.